All right, it is currently 1:23 p.m. and I want you to look at something. This color, this light, this is light that's appearing, and it's got the pattern of the stairs on the wall. And this is in the shade of the staircase. This is another method of just engineered light that's placed around while demons surround. Okay, this is how you stalk with light. This is how demons are stalking in the path with light. Where are the demons at? They're in all the apartments. 18064, 18063, 18061, 18062. These are demons that stalk in the path, monitoring me as I walk downstairs. And what you saw earlier, while the light source was over my head at building 18041, and the people of the state were group stalking on the roof, and that amplified sound of hammering, and the entity was pacing in helicopter and in airplanes, and you saw impossible light underneath the staircase on the wall, concentrated light on that wall. I just want you to be clear how impossible that is. This is the inside of those staircases, and at 18041, that demon was acting like she was so consumed with, oh, I gotta get my patient, which is the minion of 18041, the group stalker who engages in monitoring and terrorism and sexual violence on a cane. Stalking in the path of with light by walking in the engineered light with a cane. There's no vantage point where any sunlight would ever appear, but this is what you routinely see, and it was down there while I was at building 18041 earlier this morning, and this is another iteration of the same demonic pattern, stalking with light. How did the demon possessed stalk in the pattern, stalk in the path with light, which is what group stalking is? They do so by keeping what is, again, the ongoing methods of engineered light, when I'm telling you to just pay attention to your environment. All right, that's the documentation that I captured beside building 18041. Those are psychopaths that are going to be subject to mental examinations while they're engaging in the people of the states. Their pattern of conduct is to torment the target individual, turning their back, acting like you're consumed with something else, and their entire psychotic, literally obsessed group stalkers who are entirely focused on you. And that's why you see the engineered light, and that's why you see the light source. Okay, that's why you see the entity stalking in plane and helicopter. That's why they're amplifying audible activity around you, and that is the direct evidence. You don't even have to talk to the demon possessed. You're literally going to capture the environment, which is a scientific impossibility, and it's the prosecution for all of them. While the entity was for a series of hours today and is right now, that ongoing sound, that's a demon that is monitoring. Everything that's occurring in the specific environment is accomplishing ongoing monitoring, ceaseless group stalking. Stalking in the path with light, stalking in the path with ongoing noise. I just took pictures of what is LAPD. They're stalking in the path, and while I was just this isn't because I have some fixation with telling people my personal business. I want to let you know, being subject to group stalking and monitoring, I don't have any privacy, and since I have been made such a sacrifice, I have to be open in order to let you know all the intricacies of violation that I'm subject to while an entity is monitoring, a public entity is monitoring, and a demon-possessed entity is monitoring me. I just engaged in what is private activity in the private space, subject to the sex offense. All of these demons that are covered in the engineered light, that's also on the staircase. Engineered light is in my apartment, and so the picture that you see of LAPD in relevant position, and that light source you see above me while I'm standing on the third floor, they were monitoring me and they were in position. The entity was maintaining audible activity in my apartment while my panties were down and I was just using the restroom. They are indeed sex offenders, and they're demons that are monitoring every moment that is underway. And so it's the ongoing identical behavior pattern and ongoing knowledge of the demon possessed who are focused on me, who are engaging in that level of tormenting and stalking and focusing on one person that they're monitoring. Okay, and this is the reality of the sex offense, the demon possessed who live in relevant position, and the entire property inside and outside of the property is filled with engineered light. It's the reality and the prosecution of a sex offender, a violent sex offender, and that's exactly what being a group stalker is, and that's exactly how those over the age and under the age of majority are going to be prosecuted. The entity is, and that's whether you're a demon-possessed law enforcement officer, a demon-possessed judge, a demon-possessed attorney, a demon-possessed group stalker that works at the grocery store, a demon-possessed group stalker that works for speaker companies, a demon-possessed group stalker who is the minor child of a group stalker who I've documented engaged in the P.O.C. They're all, because that's what group stalking is. It's a sex offense, a violent one. So I want to be clear. That's what I'm capturing. While LAPD is in relevant position, in the same position it was when I went into my apartment, and walking out there in that same position, and the light source is in the same position, and they were monitoring me the whole time when my panties were down. All of them are. This is a massive sex offense, a massive, okay, sexually violent offense, very highly perverted. Okay, very highly perverted, and this is a secret amongst them while they're targeting you and very much engaged in what you're doing at that private moment as well. That obsession doesn't stop. Okay, I'm picking this time because at 1:23 p.m. you're looking at the demon possessed in the city of Fontana while I remain at the Fontana Lewis Library, and the entity is maintaining a light source over me in the city of Fontana, and that is to be juxtaposed with my placement in front of my apartment, the same apartment where the entity is placing a light source visible in alignment with my window as though the sun is rising here. And here it is hours later at what is 1:23, but this is now, it's currently 1:28 p.m. So at 1:23, so let's count 7:38, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. 6 hours later, I'm just gonna drop my keys. 6 hours later, the entity is maintaining a light source and it's directly over me. Not only is this not the sun, because the sun is not rising here and then staying here, but by here meaning this is just where I'm physically standing, because it's also not over the Fontana Lewis Library, anywhere over that property, the natural environment that is. This is the placement of a light source, and it is the identification of the sex offense that I'm capturing the Los Angeles Police Department engaged in while they're group stalking me at my apartment as I step out of it, and the light source is directly over my head. And this is also to be juxtaposed with the placement of the light source over my head while the Fontana Police Department are engaged in ongoing documented acts of criminal summoning, where they want to be physically present, appearing as though they're either engaged with a third-party group stalker, that's the psychopath that's focused on you, that wants to look to the left and the right, while they're entirely monitoring you, and you know that by the environment. Also present directly as a means of criminal summoning, because they are psychotic group stalkers and violent sex offenders who engaged in harassing me and removing me from the venue while I was enforcing my rights, just because those demons are mad that I was documenting them. And every single last one of them are going to federal prison for a very long time. We're not talking about 8 months, okay? They're going for a prolonged period. And the ongoing damages that I continue to suffer while LAPD is engaging in that same identical role, that's going for how long the Fontana Police Department, they're gonna be disbanded. They're also gonna be subject to mental examinations, and they're going to federal prison. Okay, the entity is maintaining a light source over me, by the way, while I'm capturing it at 1:45 and I'm at the Fontana Police Department. It's 1:30. There's no light source that's ever going to be over the Fontana Police Department at the same time. Don't forget about that documentation. And also don't forget about the Upland Police who were at the Upland Public Library at 10:48 in the morning. And yesterday I reminded you about March 16, 2022, when I captured that act of criminal summoning. Psychopaths who are monitoring me and targeting me and are acting pursuant to the demonic behavioral pattern. Demons looking to the left and the right when they're monitoring you, which you see evidence through the environment, which is how you are telling what the demon possessed are and what they're doing. That's the conduct of a psychopath who's going to be subject to federal prison and subject to what are mental examinations. The entity is engaging in the maintenance of the light source over the Upland Public Library, which is not going to be seen over the Fontana Lewis Library, and it's also not in front of my apartment at 1806 North Alvarado Street. That is the pattern of conduct, though, where you see the sex offenders that are LAPD engage in ongoing obsessive stalking, not just right now while my panties were down inside of my apartment, where light is covering my ceiling, because they are stalking and maintaining a joint demonic presence, corporate presence around me with that engineered light inside of my apartment. They're doing so with knowledge of the fact that it's being documented, and that's why they're going to federal prison. While I'm prosecuting LAPD, I'm prosecuting the Fontana PD. While I'm prosecuting those two demon-possessed agencies, I'm prosecuting the Ontario PD. While I'm prosecuting those 3 agencies, I'm prosecuting the Montclair PD. Understand that? I'm prosecuting the San Bernardino PD. All at the same time. I'm prosecuting the Upland Police Department as well. You will see the documentation where the entity is maintaining the light source over the Upland Police Department. Directly like this over my head. At no point is the sun ever going to be over the Upland Police Department. And this is exposure for what are the demon-possessed and the violent sex offenders who are engaging in incriminating the people of the state, who will be sitting in federal prison, who will be subject to mental examinations, and they are going to lose custody of their children. Those that are living at Alvarado Gardens acting with this entity, they're losing custody of their children while they like to engage in this sex offense with them. All right, they're going to be deported out of this country. All right, while they try to use the fact that they can't speak English as some sort of irrelevant, I'm trying to say the wrong word, some legally irrelevant aspect of their pattern of conduct. Let me be clear, demons, we're not dealing with those which is based on some sort of linguistic difference. It's legally irrelevant, all right? This is the pattern of conduct, and it's highly malicious. The demon-possessed are highly malicious, and that's why you have a light source that's over me. And so while I'm still documenting right now, I'm just going to go ahead and this is going to go into the next video, 1:23 p.m. The next video I was going to remind you about is beginning at 1:32 p.m. and it's 1:32 p.m. right now. So we'll just continue that while you watch this light source remain directly over my head, while you're going to juxtapose this with the video that I captured at 1:32 p.m. at the Fontana Lewis Library, where you're looking at the maintenance of this light source. And that's how you have that light source over my head at Fontana.